Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. This is Mr. R, and today I'm going to be giving you the ultimate guide to get the Nebula camo easy in Black Ops 6 Zombies. There are a lot of different strategies that people use to do this, but I'm going to walk you through the strategies that you should use for every single step of the camo grind and tell you how you can complete this grind as fast as possible. The camo grind is a lot easier in Zombies than it is in multiplayer and Warzone. So with these methods, you should have that Nebula camo in no time so that you can show it off to all of your friends. So first, let's talk about the camos themselves. Each gun starts out with the military camos, and there are 9 of those that you have to get for each weapon. For these, you need to get critical kills or headshots, with the very first challenge requiring 100 headshots, all the way up to 2,000 headshots for the Purple Tiger challenge. After that, every weapon will have 2 special camos which you need to unlock. The camos themselves are different for every weapon, as well as the challenges that are required to complete them. So they can be a little bit difficult to keep track of while you're in a game. So I put a link to a spreadsheet down in the description that you can use to help track your camos. And then finally, there are the mastery camos, of which there are 4. So there's Mystic Gold, which requires 10 kills rapidly 15 times with whatever weapon you're using. There's the Opal camo, which requires you to have Mystic Gold on all of the weapons in whatever class you're working on. So like all of the assault rifles, and then all of the special zombie eliminations. You need 30 special zombie eliminations with whatever weapon you're using. Afterlife is the 3rd of the camo challenges for masteries, and that requires that you unlock the Opal camo on all 33 weapons, and then get 20 or more consecutive kills 10 times without taking any damage with your weapon. And then finally, for Nebula, you have to unlock Afterlife on 33 different weapons, and then you have to kill 10 elite zombies with the weapon of your choice. There are a couple of different augments that you're going to want to make use of during your camo grind if you do have them unlocked, and those are going to be as follows. First off, for some of the strategies that you're going to be doing, you're going to be pretty up and close with the zombies, so you're going to want to make sure that you have on Juggernog the reactive armor and durable plates augments on. Second, for melee weapons in particular, I suggest that you put on the vampiric extraction and strength training augments. For one of the strategies that I'm going to show in the video as well, you're going to want to make sure that you have Picky Eater unlocked on Vulture Aid, because you're going to be using a lot of equipment to make that work. This is going to give you a much higher chance that zombies will drop your equipment that you have equipped. And lastly, for perks, you're going to want to make sure that you put Citrus Focus on Elemental Pop. This will basically make it so that you only will activate the ammo mod that you have on your gun instead of just a random one from Elemental Pop. And the last augment that I would really suggest is that you put Ice Cloud and Extension on Cryo Freeze. Ice Cloud and Extension are going to essentially make it so that you can freeze more enemies for a longer amount of time, which is going to be really, really helpful when you're trying to get lots of headshots. Now, the way that I recommend you do this is to work in order of weapon classes. So, for example, do all of the assault rifles first and finish getting gold on all of them before you move on to the SMGs, but don't get Opal on them just yet. One of the strategies that I'll show you will be a way that you can get Opal on your weapons while you're still working on gold on some of the other ones. So it's nice if you can maybe finish getting gold on all of one weapon class so that you can start working on Opal while you're working on gold on the next weapon class at the same time. Now let's jump into the actual methods here. I think there are some really good methods for every single aspect of the camo grind, and most of them I wouldn't suggest doing all in the same game. There are strategies that are better for headshots and for Mystic Gold, and strats that are better for Opal and Afterlife and Nebula, etc. And so you'll have to stay tuned or either jump ahead in the video if you're looking for something specific, but don't mix them too much because, again, there are strategies that are good for each thing. So for Mystic Gold, I'm actually going to show you 3 different strategies. One that takes a little bit longer but is the most sort of like legit way to do it. One that uses directed mode and is still a legitimate way of doing it, but a little bit easier since you have a round cap and the zombies aren't going to be moving quite as quickly. and one that uses sort of like a glitch that will make it so that you can get gold on weapons super easy. So the first strategy you're going to do is pretty straightforward, actually. You're just going to jump into a standard game, either on Terminus or Liberty Falls, whichever one you like better. I think Liberty Falls is going to be a little bit easier, and you're essentially just going to play through the game like normal, going for headshots, and then you'll essentially just exfil or leave the game, start a new game, so on and so forth. I suggest that if you're doing this method, you turn on the rampage inducer for as long as you feel comfortable in order to make it go a little bit faster. So if you turn on the rampage inducer, you can get through this process a lot quicker. Usually when I do this method of just playing a standard game, I'm probably going to around like round 20, 25, and then leaving the game and just jumping into a fresh game, because it just at that point starts to get a little bit overwhelming. But after you do a couple of rounds like this, you start to get used to the way that the rampage inducer feels, and you can just leave the rampage inducer on for the entire time, and it gets to be feeling like it's going pretty quick. These strategies are definitely easier with weapons like assault rifles, SMGs, LMGs. The other weapons like snipers and pistols and even the marksman rifles can be a little bit tough, but as long as you are, moving around and taking shots as you can, it's going to be pretty quick. I would suggest if you're doing snipers and pistols and things with this method, you probably don't turn the rampage inducer on, because those guns just do far less damage, and it's going to be much, much more difficult to actually pick the zombies off. But if you train up the zombies and just shoot back at them like I was doing there, you can make it up to around 20-25 pretty easily just with that method. Go into directed mode, and I'll kind of show you how I do it in directed mode, also on Liberty Falls. Now, on directed mode, this is pretty much the same strategy, except you're going to want to get your round cap up to a certain point depending on which strategy you're doing. Since we're talking about gold at the moment, you're going to want to just get your round cap all the way up to round 15. So progress the Easter egg until your round cap says round 15, and then I'll show you the spot where you're going to want to go. Now, I mentioned that there was a really good spot where you could grind for camos on directed mode here. So if you get to the point where you can come over to the top of the bank here, you're going to want to open up this little gate here and then come over to this window, and you'll see you can unlock this door here, which usually you have to go inside of the bank to open. If you unlock that door, it's going to let you into the bank without opening the main doors, okay? And then you're just going to want to sit right on top of this island here, and all of the zombies are just going to jump up on this island and run straight at you. If you run out of ammo, just jump out and buy ammo over here next to this tanker truck in the spawn area. This is sort of the method that you're going to want to use for directed mode. Just sit right here and obviously progress to round 15 and then just chill in this spot basically forever. And something that I didn't realize for whatever reason when I first started grinding for camos is that you can get critical kills on the vermin and the parasites as well. I don't know why I didn't realize that, but I feel like I have to say it just because if you didn't realize that you could get headshots from these, it's a huge missed opportunity. When you finish up whatever gun you're working on, just go either buy another gun off the wall or hit the box until you find a gun that you need to still get gold on. Make sure that you go out to upgrade your rarity, put on an ammo mod, pack-a-punch, all that stuff. If you do this particular method, this is going to be a lot faster than playing in standard mode, because all of the zombies are going to come right to you and you can just get straight headshots every time without really even moving your weapon if you just stay in this one spot. So this is the fastest, not really a glitch way to get headshots, and I'll show you the glitch way in just a couple of minutes here. Now we're going to move on to Opal now, okay? And I will show you that glitch method in just a couple of minutes, but it works for all of the different camos across the board, so we're going to show it to you at the very end. In the meantime, we're going to jump into Opal, and I'm going to show you a couple of different methods for Opal as well. Okay, so for Opal, just a reminder, you need to get Mystic Gold on all of the weapons in a particular weapon class before you can start working on Opal. Now that there are DLC weapons, it's not quite like that, but for example, for assault rifles, you just need to get 7 of them, even though I think there are 8 assault rifles now. SMGs, there's some extra ones in there, so you don't need to get all of them necessarily, but you need to get all of the launch weapons in each class before you can start working on Opal. So if you're grinding for Opal on a standard game, I would highly suggest that you do it on Citadel de Mor. On Citadel de Mor, you get way more doppelgasts that spawn in. So once you get to the higher rounds, the camo grinding for Opal becomes super easy because you're going to get tons of those doppelgasts that spawn in, and they're not super difficult to kill either. When you're playing on Citadel de Mor, if you're doing like a training kind of method, my favorite place to do training is just right out here on this particular side of the statue. So if you just train around this half of the statue for basically as long as possible, you can have a pretty easy route in order to not get super damaged by the zombies. And again, make sure that you go out to upgrade your weapons, buy perks, all that stuff. But this is a good spot to train, and then once you get them hoarded up good, just turn back, take out as many of them as you possibly can, and then, you know, move on to the next round, and so on and so forth. So if you're playing on standard mode, pretty much your best bet for getting special zombie eliminations, which are either manglers or doppelgasts, is to play here on Citadel de Mor. And of course it's not going to spawn in right now because I just got a bug round, but any round after round 12, almost every round you're getting at least one doppelgast, and it's not too long until you're getting 2 per round or even up to 3 per round. And if you even just do this training strategy for a while, it's pretty easy to stay caught up with it. And that glitching strategy, which I talked about, is also on Citadel, so I'll tell you about that in just a couple of minutes again, but that is essentially the strategy for this map. Get up to round 12, and then just play, and you'll get one pretty much every round, every other round or so. So basically for this Liberty Falls strategy here, you're going to want to head to the same location in the same way that we did for the other strategy, but you're going to want to get to round 11 and stop on round 11. And just so you know, round 11 on directed mode of Liberty Falls is just opening the Pack-a-Punch room, and that's it. So if you get to round 11 while doing this method, then every single round you'll have a mangler that spawns in. So what you can do is you can have one gun in your hand grinding for gold, and then you can have another gun that every time you see a mangler, you pull out that weapon and grind for Opal on that weapon once you've finished an entire class worth of gold guns. Basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. This is super easy, super fast. Most of the time you can literally just sit here and do this with one hand, unless you need to leave and go get ammo. So this is definitely my recommended Opal method, other than that glitch method, which I'll show you soon. So for both Afterlife and Nebula, honestly, the easiest ways to do these are just going to be to do directed mode. I'm not even going to show you strategies for doing these on a standard game. If you want to do these in a standard game, all you have to do is just play a standard game and either try not to get hit or kill elite zombies. That's basically it. The directed mode strategy for completing the Afterlife camo is definitely the easiest way to do it. Pretty much on every map, you have an ammo box in your starting room, so you can stay there on the round cap of 3 and just try not to get hit until you unlock that Afterlife challenge. And then once you unlock the challenge, because you haven't really progressed the game at all, there's no point in saving and quitting. Just back out, switch to the next gun, go in, unlock the challenge, so on and so forth. I decided to showcase this on Terminus because Terminus is the only map that we honestly haven't really used in this tutorial yet today. So Terminus it is for this one, but Again, you can do this on any map. It's super straightforward. So back on Liberty Falls here again, I'm just going to basically progress the Easter egg on directed mode all the way to the HVT step. So just follow the on-screen instructions for directed mode that tell you how to progress the Easter egg if you don't know how to do it yourself, and get all the way to that HVT step, and I'll show you what you're going to want to do once you get there in order to complete the entire Nebula challenge for not only one gun in one game, but you could complete every single gun in one game if you had the time to do it. All you have to do is get to the step where you have the LTG. You're going to want to place this down and then defend it like you normally would. And once you've successfully defended it, you'll get an HVT to spawn in, and you just want to kill that. You're not going to do anything special. In the Easter egg, you would want to like extract its soul and then deliver it to the machine, but you just want to kill it, okay? And it's going to count as an elite kill, and then end the round. And then as soon as the round ends, you can activate that device again, and it's just going to spawn in another HVT. So you essentially have unlimited elite zombie spawns, and I would recommend there's 2 of these that you have to do in the Easter egg. I would recommend that you do this until you get the one that you have the Mangler. I would rather have the Mangler than the Abomination. It's a lot easier to kill, so it's going to make your process much easier if you make sure that you're getting the Mangler instead of the Abomination. Using this method, it's literally so easy to just literally get Nebula on at least one gun in one game, or you could get Nebula on every gun in the game during the same match if you can essentially get all of the weapons out of the box. As long as you can get the weapons out of the box, you can just continue to spawn this over and over and over again and get Nebula on every single gun. This is by far the easiest way to do this challenge. Again, if you want to do this in standard, all you have to do to complete this in standard is just basically go to higher rounds and kill elite zombies. Either whatever map you want. It's amalgams or abominations, so whatever map you do it on will depend on which one you have to kill, but honestly I think that this is by far the easiest way to do this challenge. My recommendation would be to do it this way 100% of the time. Now I know this is the moment that you've all been waiting for. This is going to be sort of a glitched kind of way that you can get all of the camo challenges done on every weapon just using this same exact strategy, and it's super straightforward, super simple. So I'm going to show you this method. It's on Citadel Day More. I do actually have a video on like a more in-depth tutorial on this exact method on my channel, but I'm going to show you the basics of it right here and right now. So jump into Citadel Day More, grab whatever weapon you want to use, and we'll go ahead and get started. And make sure you do this on standard and not directed mode. So step 1 is going to be to get everything opened up, get to Pack-a-Punch, and talk to Craft to start the Easter egg. That's pretty much the only Easter egg step that you really have to do, is just talk to Craft so that you can actually start the Easter egg and have access to this, but we'll catch up with you in a minute once we get to that point. I should also note that for this method, you're going to want to make sure that you have the Molotov selected as your lethal, and you also are going to want the Picky Eater augment on Vulture. That's when you need to have this. So if you're working on any other methods in the meantime, work on those methods and then use that to kind of upgrade your Vulture so that you have access to that augment when you need it. So I've got the Pack-a-Punch opened up and I'm talking to Craft here. That's the first step you need to get started with this method, and then once you finish talking to Craft, you're basically on to the next step here. So after you talk to Craft, what you need to do is you need to come out here and shoot this light beam thing and get all of these light beams to line up, and then pick up the amulet that drops after you've lined up all these beams of light. So once you've done this, you will have access to this Paladin's Brooch. You want to go ahead and pick that up, and then before you do anything else, you need to go and buy Vulture. Vulture is going to be 100% necessary for this method. So go ahead and buy Vulture Aid, and then start upgrading whatever weapon you want to use to do this challenge. So once you have that brooch in hand, you can go ahead and place it down on this platform here, and you'll get like an unlimited spawn of zombies inside. So what you want to do is you then want to put whatever weapon you want to use in your hand, run out here to the oil trap, okay, turn on the trap, stand in the corner, and then throw a Molotov, and you'll see that every enemy that walks in is going to count as a kill or a critical kill at least. So all of these kills are going to count towards whatever weapon you have in your hand. If you have a gun in your hand, it'll count for critical kills. If you have a melee weapon, it'll count for kills for the melee weapon, so on and so forth. And this is a super good way to go ahead and rack up those camos super fast. Now, the reason you want to have the Picky Eater augment on Vulture Aid is because then the zombies are going to drop your held equipment. So if your equipment is a Molotov, zombies are going to drop Molotovs a lot more often, and then you will just have to buy less of them from the actual store crafting table thing. You'll just be able to use your ones that you just pick up off the ground. So what you want to do is you want to turn on the trap, throw your Molotov, and then just hang out and wait for this fire to basically go away. Once the fire has gone away, it will be perfect timing for you to go back and start the trap on the other side, and you can just rinse and repeat this process basically ad nauseum. If you get a bug round, unfortunately, the easiest way to take out the parasites is with your actual gun. So you may have to take out your actual gun and do a little bit of shooting when the parasites spawn in. But as long as your armor and stuff is upgraded, it's really not a big deal. Now, I recommend having Ether Shroud on for this method. Ether Shroud is going to be a big help because it's going to make it so that when you need to go somewhere, you have like a little bit of a buffer. Basically, the zombies that are spawning inside of this courtyard area are going to spawn on an endless loop forever. So there's never really like a moment of downtime. You're always going to have a horde of zombies chasing you no matter what, wherever you go. So again, it's super important to make sure that your weapon is upgraded and that you stay on top of upgrading it as much as possible, because the amount of damage that your weapon is going to do is completely based on whether or not you have upgraded that weapon. But folks, that is it. That's really all you need to know in order to go ahead and jumpstart your camo grind. This is all of the methods that you could possibly use in order to do the camo grind. Personally, for me, I would recommend doing the Citadel Day Boar one before it gets patched, the glitchy one. But if you're not going to do that, honestly, directed mode is the way to go. It's the easiest way to do it, and you can do all of the challenges in directed mode pretty easily. Otherwise, folks, make sure that you like and subscribe. Help me out. We're on the way to 1,000 subscribers. We're getting pretty close. And with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you soon.